Hello. I'm really tired tonight. I just wanted to go to bed actually right now, and it's not even 9 p.m. Sorry for that loud noise. And I realized that I didn't do my video today, and I promised myself I would do a video every day. I don't know for how long. The number 30 has been going around in my mind. 30 seems like a good number. And I like the fact that I'm keeping myself accountable, because I can't just be like, oh, whatever, and not do it. You know, there's nobody pushing me to do it. I'm not a kid anymore. I have no parent or teacher getting me to do this. So it's me who has to be accountable and kick my own butt to do it. So this is number 5, box number 5 in my lovely Boston Pizza wrapping. And today's video is, it's an interesting topic that, something that happened to me very recently. And it's on the topic of receiving. And I don't know for how many of you, or how many of you find receiving to be difficult. I know for me it had been. It had been extremely hard for me to receive, and I didn't even know that until recently. Excuse me, until I started Tosha Silver's book called It's Not Your Money. And she says in it that mostly women, but also men, have a very hard time to receive. And that could be for many different factors, mainly being that I guess the traditional role women have taken on has been one to just be selfless and to take care of everybody and not themselves. And then men can do it as well. And, you know, I look back on the times where I've gotten gifts or compliments. Compliments is a big one. And I remember just feeling very uncomfortable, not knowing what to say back, thinking I had to then reciprocate the compliment or the gift instead of just accepting it and saying thank you. I always thought it was, you know, there was some motive behind it. Someone was after something there. They wanted something from me, and those are all the beliefs I developed growing up, because maybe that did happen to me when I was young, or I witnessed it. So the story I wanted to talk about was the other day I had this impulse to go to the grocery store to get ice cream. Just this huge impulse. And so I went. And it was later at night, about 8 o'clock p.m. And I went and I got to the parking lot. And when I got to the parking lot, my husband called me. So we started chatting, and then I put my headphones on and went into the store and was talking to him like that. And so obviously I was talking to him and I wasn't 100% paying attention to what I was doing. So I was kind of just aimlessly walking around the store, which I normally do, regardless of if I'm on the phone or not. And I remember walking over to the bakery section several times, just looking at stuff, didn't really want anything, and then would go somewhere else and they'd be like, you know, I'll have another look. Even though there wasn't much there, because it was 8 p.m. at night. And so I'm on my way home, and there's several different ways to go home, and I normally always take a different route, just because, you know, you can go up this way, and our house is kind of in the middle, so you could go like 4 different ways to get home. And I went straight, and there was this guy coming towards me on his bike, walking his dog. I guess riding his bike and they had his dog on the leash. And he kind of moved over a little bit because he was in the middle of the road. And he passes me. And when I get a little further down the road, I noticed like garbage in the street. So I was like, oh, I'll avoid that. And I was like, oh, it's kind of green garbage. And as I get closer, I was like, huh, that's green and blue garbage. And then it clicks. That's not garbage. That's money. And my husband is still on the phone at this point on the Bluetooth in the car, and he's saying something, and I pull over and I go, hold on, I'll be right back. I'm getting out of the car. And I run out of the car and I see, sure enough, it is a pile of money, a considerable pile of money. And I go and I look around, and then all of a sudden I get scared that I need to hurry up and grab it before somebody else comes and takes it or says it's not mine, or, you know, it's just too good to be true. So I pick it up and it's a fat stack of money, and I just quickly count it and go sit in the car. And I tell my husband, like, oh my goodness, I just found a ton of money in the road. Like, just sitting on the street, there's nobody around. And then it clicked to me that it could have been that guy's on the bike. And so I thought, man, that would be a real bummer to lose that much money. So I turned the car around and I took off down the street in the same direction I went. Couldn't see him anywhere. I looked up and down all the roads. I looked for a dog. I looked for a guy on a bike. And then I even looped around and went a different way on the way back. And I couldn't see him. And then all of a sudden this guilt kicked in that you took money from someone that may or may not have been his, but you took the money and maybe he needed it to feed his dog. And then my guilt really kicked in. And then I thought, you know what? I don't believe that was a coincidence. I believe I was meant to find that money. And there was a reason why I didn't see him, and he took off and there was no sight of him anymore. And so I sat there and I realized maybe for some reason of that I'm not aware of, he was meant to lose that money if it was him who dropped it. And I was meant to receive the money. And I know what some of you might be thinking, oh, sure, you looked for him real hard. I'm sure you did. I swear I did. And in this book, Tosha's book, It's Not Your Money, she talks about, you know, when you're ready and open to receive, you will start receiving things like that, randomly given to you, and it may or may not come from somebody else. It may just be a random thing that you find, or she says, you know, God uses, and I'm not meaning God in a religious way, I mean in a spiritual way, God, the universe, whoever you believe in, uses other people to make transactions. For instance, someone could give you a big tip wherever you work, or they drop money and you find it, or they do a service for you and then they don't accept money for it. You know, all those things are receiving, even receiving compliments or receiving love, but we see it more easily when it's money because it's a tangible thing. Because I can't tell you the feeling of seeing all that money was, I can't really describe that feeling compared to if someone was just sitting there waiting for a hug from me. You know, it'd be a different feeling. It was a different type of excitement because I realized that I had attachments to it, like, this is too good to be true. Somebody's gonna take it away from me. I don't deserve it. And I quickly was aware of those, and I cleared them, and I reassured myself that, you know, you've done nothing wrong. This was meant to be this way. You know, it's not a coincidence. You went out at that time of night. You went down that street. That person who may or may not have dropped it passed you at that time and nobody else saw it. And you know what? I didn't even eat the ice cream. So I really do think the moral of that story, or that purpose of why I went to the store, was not to get the ice cream. Sometimes you never know what you may find if you follow your impulse. Thank you.